Hi everyone, welcome to Engineering Live. I am your host tonight, Brittany, and tonight we are going live to you all from the UK Federal Credit Union Esports Lounge and Theater at the Cornerstone. And we're really glad you all are joining us tonight. We've got a really great broadcast in store for you. I'm joined here by three of my awesome peers in the College of Engineering, and we're just going to be chatting about what life is like here at UK as an engineering or computer science student. And we'll also be answering you all's questions that you've got throughout our time with you tonight. So I hope you'll have those ready to drop down in the chat box below. But before we get started with that, we are just gonna go around, introduce ourselves to you all. So I will get us started. Like I said, my name's Brittany Williams. I am a senior here at UK studying mechanical engineering. And I'm originally from Frisco, Texas, which is just north of Dallas. And a few things I do here at UK, I am currently an engineering ambassador, like all of us here. It's fun, we get to talk to you all about engineering. I'm also currently the president of the Society of Women Engineers, and I am also a tour guide on campus as well as in Greek life. So that's a little bit about me, but pass it off to David.
Hi everyone, my name is David Sinabera. I'm from Westchester, Ohio, which is a little bit north of Cincinnati. I'm a sophomore electrical engineering student, and I'm an engineering ambassador also. I'm involved with the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers, and also I'm an RA in Woodland Glen 3, which is the home of the Engineering Living Learning program.
Hi, I'm Lily Kirby. I'm a sophomore as well, and I'm studying biosystems engineering. I'm from Muhlenberg County, Kentucky, in Western Kentucky, and some things I'm involved in on campus include the SEAM Honors Pathway, and the Energy Club, and I'm also an ambassador.
Hey everyone, I'm Will Luckett, and I am a senior in mechanical engineering, originally from Versailles, Kentucky. I'm also in the SEAM Honors Pathway, and I've done 4 co-op rotations while I've been at UK.
Awesome, yeah, so that's us. Like I said, if you all have any questions throughout the night for all of us or for one specifically for any of us, definitely feel free to drop them below in those comments and we'll get them answered. But before we get started with that, I do have a couple announcements we wanted to share with you guys. So definitely want to make note that December 1st is the UK deadline for early action admissions and academic scholarships. So believe it or not, that is right around the corner. So be sure to have your application and supplemental materials into us by December 1st for those things. And then also, I want to encourage anyone in the audience tonight, if you have not gotten the chance to visit campus, that you think about taking the chance to do so. We are currently offering online as well as on-campus visits and some special online events as well, where you all as prospective students and families can learn a little bit about UK as well as what we do here at the College of Engineering. So you can check out those visit options at engr.uky.edu/visit. And the link for that also is down in the description below. So y'all can head to that link as well to check out those visit options. But with that, we'll go ahead and get started tonight. So the first thing I wanted to talk about with you all is, coming in as a freshman here at UK in engineering. What was that like for you all, and what did you find kind of the most helpful in finding your home on campus that first year?
Yeah, for me, being an out-of-state student, I knew it was going to be quite the challenge considering not many people come from out of state to UK. So something that was really important for me was to establish good study groups and stuff like that. And I did that a lot through the Living Learning program. A lot of my study groups I made there, and my best friends came from the Living Learning program. So for me, the LLP was super useful for that.
I would agree with David. I would say the biggest thing I could have done my freshman year was to join the engineering LLP, but I would also add that any group you can find on campus, like I'm in SEAM or any club, that's a really easy way to make a ton of friends, and there's so many options. You can find something that suits you perfectly.
Yeah, definitely agree with Lily and David on that one. For me, it was my peer mentor. My freshman year in the LLP, he was really just one text away, any question I had. He was also a mechanical engineer, so he was a few years ahead of me. Was able to help me with homework assignments or anything I really needed, so that was great.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think the Living Learning program is a big asset in general, but especially to us as engineers when you've got some hard classes and you're all adjusting together. I think it's so great to live in the same place as also people taking those classes. I think that was my favorite part about the Living Learning program was taking Physics 1 first semester and struggling with it and going down to the large classroom when everybody else was struggling too, and we could all kind of help each other on that in that way. So I definitely say the Living Learning program is great. And I also think getting to know people in your classes was really, like taking the step to get to know people in your classes was really helpful. I had to do that in some of my big lecture classes to make those study groups and meet people to do homework with. I don't know if y'all had similar things you had to do in your freshman classes. They were tough.
Yeah. Developing those circles early was definitely important. And all the, involvements at UK really helped with that.
And just being with other engineering students in general, like you'll be taking those same gen ed courses with them. So you'll be like cramming together for physics or with calculus. So you'll be going through those gen eds together, which is really useful or really helpful.
Right. And then like you said, Will, you have classes with those people the rest of your time at UK. So it's nice to form those study groups early. I agree.
Yeah, I was definitely shocked. Like coming to college, I expected not to know like who was in my classes, but I kept seeing the same faces consistently, and I still do. So that was an easy way to make friends for sure.
Yeah, it's helpful to have your friends in class who can also be your friends outside of class and kind of balance that way. We're talking about, we all know engineering can be tough, especially freshman year coming into some of those tough classes. I guess what are also some ways y'all found to help you within the classroom, like outside of just friends and study groups, ways to help you be successful?
For me, like something that's different from high school to college is that when all your assignments are due, like the first day of class. So like one thing I did was I threw all my assignments into my Outlook calendar, which is where pretty much my life revolves around that. All events are planned around that. So it just gives me an idea of like what going into the week, what do I have to do? Do I have to prepare more or less? So just being organized is really important.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely spent, I'm sure you guys did too, a lot of time at the study, my first couple years actually. And for the viewers, the study is like an on-campus, there's student tutors at the study. It's totally free to use. They help you with kind of your first year classes, get you some great help there. So spent a lot of time there.
I would also say that like I had some really awesome professors. A lot of the time, a lot of people don't go to see their professors. So whenever you do go to office hours, they are so helpful and so nice and will tell you exactly what you need to study. So
that's so true. I remember one of our first year engineering professors had her office hours in the residence hall. So you live in the residence hall. We got to take some classes in our engineering living learning program and also go to office hours in the living learning program. Like it was so convenient. They really do like want to help you and give you those resources, which I remember being kind of surprised by. Like I always kind of had this image in my head that professors were going to be more intimidating than they are. But I know personally, I've really found that they've been really helpful throughout my time.
Yeah, definitely agree.
Yeah, I think especially, finding those spots in your classes. And I would say another thing I never thought about with academically helping you be successful is like those involvement things that we were talking about. Like for me, it was getting involved in the Society of Women Engineers, or SWE, and meeting girls older than me that had already taken all those classes. And they were so helpful just in like, take this professor or this section, is a great way to do it, or take this class over the summer, things like that, kind of helping you navigate your courses. So I guess with that, what are also some other ways y'all have found to help navigate?
Yeah, like I've gotten involved with the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers, which has been a really cool opportunity. Like, for example, last November, I got the chance to go to Phoenix, Arizona for the National Ship Convention. So I got to meet a bunch of large companies, get resume checks. So it was a great opportunity to just network with people across the country and just meet new people and visit a cool new city. Phoenix was a really cool experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for me, I had a lot of time in high school that I didn't just spend, I obviously wasn't in engineering, and I was really devoted to children. And that's what's good about clubs here at UK is you can do anything that's in your interest. You don't have to stay to specific clubs. So I'm involved in a lot of clubs that do tutoring and visit elementary schools, and that's totally open to me as an engineering student. So you can still pursue your other interests.
Yeah.
That's such a great point. You really can balance, even though engineering will take up a large part of your life, as we know, but you can still find those ways to balance and find other things to get involved in. I agree. Do you have something you wanted to add, Will? Did I cut you off?
You're good. You're good.
Okay, with that and getting involved, I guess balancing is a hard part. You want to be successful in the classroom, but we're also in college and you want to have, an enjoyable 4 years here. So it's like, David, you had a good tip of really balancing everything with your schedule. Do you guys have any other tips or tricks that have helped you kind of balance all your things throughout your time here?
Yeah, so especially for me, I kind of made the library sort of a social outlet. I would have my study circles, my friend circles. We would all go to the library after classes were over for that day, and just kind of, grind out the homework, grind out the work, study all together. And then that was kind of the social outlet, but also working on those classes too.
I would definitely say keeping track of like all the different sources there are definitely like lowered my stress, because there's more than just the study. There's also like the writing center, which is a big thing for me, like writing papers. So I would plan ahead whenever I knew I had a paper coming up and send my paper into the writing center, or I would just office hours, things like that, just meeting with my advisor as well, like keeping myself on track with what I need to do to like keep my grades where I want them to be.
Yeah, that's like one of the amazing things about coming to UK is there's just so many resources out there that like you'll be struggling. There will be times where you'll struggle, but there's always be resources to help you get through that problem. And UK just has plenty of that available.
Yeah, and I think we're lucky in the College of Engineering too. We even have a few more than I feel like a lot of the other colleges on campus. Like we have Tau Beta Pi, which is engineering class specific tutoring. So even as you get into your sophomore, junior level classes, you can find that help, which I think a lot of other colleges don't have such great resources for us. So I think that's definitely a perk of being in the College of Engineering. And like, we have such great academic advisors and career advisors. I know that's been one of my favorite things about being in the College of Engineering here. So with that, what have you all's experience kind of been like utilizing some of those types of resources on the advising side?
Like just this week, I met with one of the career development people to help on my resume. I'm currently in the process trying to look for an internship for the summer. So there's just having the resources available to get a really nice resume and sort of tailor yourself to what companies are looking for is really nice to have available at the College of Engineering.
Yeah, I definitely agree. We host a career fair every fall and spring. So that's where I've gotten all of my co-ops. Actually, it was at the on-campus career fair. So it's really great that UK kind of brings that to us and that opportunity. And I've definitely done resume prep and even some interview prep with them as well at the Career Center.
I would say something that like I wouldn't know as a freshman is that a lot of the tutoring, like you mentioned, is people that are just a few years older than you. So it's not really that intimidating and everybody's really nice. I've never had a bad experience at any of our tutoring services.
Yeah.
Definitely makes it like less intimidating to use those resources when you know they're students and like they don't have PhDs.
They feel our pain. They know.
Right. They've been there. They've done that. Like they've struggled too, and they're so helpful. I totally agree. So we have a question from Hunter. Thank you for joining us, Hunter, and asking us this. Hunter wants to know what study abroad opportunities are available in our College of Engineering and what it's like when you go abroad. So I can personally speak to that a little bit. I took advantage of our study abroad program that we have within the College of Engineering. It's in the summer. It's in Karlsruhe, Germany, which I probably did not say that right. But you can take Calculus 4 over there. It's a 5-week program. And it's basically a UK classroom picked up and moved over to Germany. It's all UK engineering students, UK calculus professors. So the credit transfers easily. And then we also did these really cool trips over the weekends where we would go to German engineering companies and just like learn about what they did and really get some cool hands-on like manufacturing type of, German manufacturing experience, which was really, really neat. So we have that program within the college that you basically apply for it, sign up for it. The credit transfers easily. It's awesome. But also you have the opportunity to kind of do any study abroad experience that you want if you take advantage of these advising resources, meet with your academic advisor. We've got a study abroad advisor specifically for the College of Engineering, which is really helpful. So if you take advantage of those, you can kind of make it what you want too. I've got a friend who's took a semester in Spain and she's a civil engineering student. So you can make it work, whatever your dreams are there. I don't know if any of y'all had the chance to study abroad.
Yeah, I haven't studied abroad, but one of the cool things is that like, even if it's not engineering related, there's plenty of other things to study abroad for. Like I'm currently trying to get a Spanish minor and there's study abroad opportunities in like Costa Rica and other Latin American countries. So you can work on the Spanish credits. So like, it doesn't necessarily have to be College of Engineering related. It could be like something related to a minor that you're trying to go for. So there's plenty of study abroad opportunities out there.
Right. I think we even have like service opportunities abroad. I remember when I was over in Germany, it was so funny. We were at the BMW museum and I ran into one of my fellow students at UK, but he was over there doing an internship abroad. So, and it was totally random that we all happened to be at the same museum on the same day, but you can get internship and work experiences abroad. It can be 2 weeks, it can be 5 weeks, it can be a year, kind of whatever you want. So yeah, there are a lot of options there. Good question, Hunter. Now we've got another question from Amanda. Thanks for joining us tonight. Amanda wants to ask us about 2 programs that combine business and engineering. So SEAM honors, which I know all of us are a part of, as well as the MBA dual degree. So I'll toss that off to y'all to talk about the SEAM program a little bit.
SEAM's a really cool opportunity at UK. So it sort of combines the technical side of engineering with the management side of business. So like when you're in the SEAM program, it's an honors college pathway. So you'll be taking some classes that are business related. For example, you'll take a class related to sort of engineering ethics, and there's also management courses, engineering leadership courses. So it gives you a good taste of what business is like. And then on top of that, it's a track for a 1-year MBA. So you'll stay at UK for 5 years, but you'll finish with your bachelor's in engineering and an MBA on top of that.
Yeah, SEAM kind of covers all the facets of business, also with engineering. So let's say you wanted to be an entrepreneur after you get your engineering degree and kind of develop those critical thinking skills that you learn as an engineering student. There's a marketing class in the SEAM program that we take that kind of teaches you how to be entrepreneurial. And if you want to, join the workforce as an engineer, there's a project management class I'm actually taking right now. It really teaches you, Brittany's in it with me, that teaches you how to plan out a project and make sure it stays on track.
Yeah, I would agree with what they said, and I would just add that the bridge is really between, we focused a lot on making a product, but also being able to sell it, which I feel like is something that we're missing out of the general engineering program, and I really enjoy the addition of SEAM.
Yeah, I agree. I think one of my favorites, I really loved that we got a lean certification through the SEAM program. Like you get to take a week and just take an intensive, kind of all-day class learning about lean principles and lean systems and end up with a certification in it. So like that's on my resume. I talk about it in interviews, and it's also 3 hours of class credit. So it really nicely kind of ties that in. And it's a cool opportunity for all of us to get to do that. And we also do some fun stuff with it too. Like I remember that's one of the fun parts about it is like you have your cohort, and you're taking classes together your whole 4 years. And I remember going to Keeneland and doing a trip there and talking with the president of Keeneland. And those of y'all not from Lexington, that is our horse racing track here in Lexington. So we got to talk with like the president about all of their business that goes on behind Keeneland. And it was like just a really cool class trip. We got to take the day off, and just like cool, fun things about that where you get to, like you guys were saying, add in some of that business knowledge to your engineering degree, which is a really valuable skill set too. So I know, Lily, you were talking about the MBA program too, right?
Yeah, I am interested in the MBA program. Obviously, I'm only a sophomore, so I haven't done that yet, but it is a program for staying to your 5th year and getting your MBA, but it also comes with a study abroad opportunity as well, and as well as a scholarship. So you would apply in your, I think, senior year,
yeah,
and then all of that would come with it. So it's a really amazing opportunity, along with, you have the option of getting your master's in engineering as well. So you can choose between that if you're interested in a 5-year master's program.
Right, yeah, and I think I remember seeing too, in the MBA program, you do I believe it's called a Project Connect, like internship through it. So also getting you some of those hands-on skills throughout that year while you're learning. So you really do gain a lot of that throughout your year, whether you want to stay in engineering and go into an engineering role after getting that MBA, or like I know people that have gone into finance or, or consulting or becoming an entrepreneur and starting their own company. Like opportunities are endless when you combine those skill sets. So great question there.
And just one more thing to add, like just being in SEAM also, you're in the honors college. So that's a good way to be exposed to a different type of class. Like all the engineering classes are very technical based. So when you're in an honors college class, it's a different type of class. It's very discussion based. So it's a new way to be exposed to new ideas and just learn new things. And you just get to meet more people that are just not in engineering. You hear different viewpoints. It's really nice being part of the honors college.
Yeah, that's so true. And that's also what I love about, like you get that honors classroom environment, but still, and like about topics that you're interested in as an engineering student. Mm-hmm. So I always really like that because I remember being scared about coming into honors and having to take like super hard English composition classes that like I am just not very good at. So I really liked, getting that classroom environment, but talking about the ethics of technology or entrepreneurship and things like that. So I agree, it's definitely a pro. And I'll remind everybody again, in case you weren't here at the beginning, if you're interested in that honors college or the SEAM honors program, that is the December 1st application deadline. So be sure to check that box on your application, fill out the extra essay, and get all of that to us by December 1st. But with that, kind of taking it back to classes and what we're doing on campus. And I know I asked you all earlier about your experience as a freshman at UK in the College of Engineering. One cool thing that we have here at UK is our first year engineering program as a freshman. So for you guys, like, what was your experience like with that program, and how did it kind of help you get to where you are now and picking your major and all that type of stuff?
First year engineering is a pretty cool program because it's a generalized sort of type of engineering. It's not super specialized, so it sort of gives you a nice mix of all the different types of engineering. And like your second semester, you'll take a class called EGR 103, and that's a project-based course. So it's something similar to a capstone project you'll do your senior year. So it'll give you an idea of like what a semester-long project looks like, and it'll give you an exposure to what your senior design project will look like.
Yeah, and I know for me, I came in not quite sure which discipline I wanted to focus on, whether it was CS or mechanical, but some of that first year coding kind of set me in my mechanical track. So that was really cool that we had that full year to kind of decide where we wanted to go in engineering.
Yeah, and the first year engineering, what were those called? The programs where you would go, and it's literally a session about the different types of engineering. And I think you're required to go to 2. I think I ended up going to every single one of them. They were so helpful and so nice. And you met students in that discipline and professors in that discipline, and it really described what there was to offer.
Right, yeah, and I love that aspect of like just taking the year to really learn and like the low pressure side of it. Because I remember coming in, and it can be stressful, like who actually really knows what they want to do in college before they get here? Like, so many of us change our minds, and I think it's so nice that within the College of Engineering, we have time to learn about the majors, make an informed choice. Like, there are now 10 majors to choose from, so there are a lot of options to do there. So I really like that they give you plenty of time to think about it, and you also get to meet with some professors in those departments, talk to them about their research opportunities, you know, and like really learn what that engineering title means. Because I remember thinking biosystems engineering and biomedical engineering was the same thing. And that is definitely not true. So I learned that my first year, and that kind of helped me end up choosing mechanical for my pathway too. So I found that really helpful. And then with that, another thing I think that makes the first year program so beneficial is the professors that we get to take classes with. Like, they are College of Engineering professors that you might see later on. So with that, I guess, what was you all's experience with that? I know most of us have a pretty special place in our heart for our first year professors. So
yeah, like for my Engineering 101 course, it was actually the chair of my department. I'm an electrical engineer, and it was the chair of the electrical and computer engineering department. So it gave me good exposure to him, and because more than likely I'll have a class from him in the future in electrical engineering. So it was a good chance to just meet him and just see his teaching style. It was a good exposure.
Yeah, I loved my first year professors. It's such a, like you said, low pressure. And so at the beginning of class, I had someone who's actually mining engineering, which is not what I'm going into, but he had time to like talk about his research, and I could really see his passion. And it's a connection that you can't really get in a normal like lecture style class. So
Yeah, for 101, I had Dr. Whitney. So it was really cool because she was able to share her experience with the company she'd worked with throughout her engineering career. And that was cool to see because, you know, we come into engineering school not really knowing, you know, what an engineer does, unless our parents were engineers, of course. But just having, you know, the first year engineering professors sharing their experience of like a lifelong in industry was really helpful.
Yeah, I was going to mention it's cool. Yeah, I had Dr. Whitney first year too, and now we have her in our senior year project management class. So like it's not the last you see of those professors. So I think it's neat, yeah, that you're going to see them again, and they're real life engineers or doing really awesome research and that type of thing. So with that, kind of moving out of freshman year into, you know, your experience as an engineering student, I wanted to ask you, Will, you know, you mentioned co-op experience, and what has your kind of experience been like with internships and co-ops and finding those and doing those and all that type of stuff?
Yeah, so I utilized, like I mentioned, the career fairs here at UK after my freshman year at UK, and got a internship with GE Appliances and worked kind of like a manufacturing role with them, and stayed on and worked in kind of like a logistics role. So it's been really great. UK offers great flexibility in terms of co-ops, especially with certain majors. I know mechanical, it's very flexible in terms of classes. I just was able to push my first semester of sophomore year off just a little bit because of my internship, but no real hiccups there, and it was a great experience. And working with the Career Center, like I mentioned earlier, the resume and interview prep was just incredible. I definitely credit them with that role, no doubt.
Yeah, I agree. I've gotten the chance to I've gotten to work 2 internships, and then I took a semester co-op like Will and pushed off some semester classes there for a little bit. And I ended up getting my opportunities through a conference like David was talking about. I went with the Society of Women Engineers. But I would say even though I got them at that experience, I never would have actually gotten the job without career services at UK, because they really break down your resume for you, prepare you with interview tips, the whole thing, and are really there to support you through every single like step of that career finding journey. Like deciding what career path you want to do, helping you get those internships and co-ops, and then even full-time offers. Like I called kind of last minute the career services department early last week because I ended up getting a job offer and didn't know how to negotiate it, if it was even any good or what to do about it, and was in a panic. So I made a same day appointment with the career services department, and they're just amazing. So every single step of the way, I found them to be really helpful as well. So I know David and Lily haven't done those yet, but what are you guys thinking for career paths and things like that?
One of my big interests is like aviation and just defense industry and stuff like that. So one of the things I'm looking at is me and a friend are trying to do co-op in Denver. There's a large Lockheed Martin presence over there. So that's one of the areas we're looking at. And just one thing I wanted to add, like one thing that's really cool about the College of Engineering with the co-ops and stuff is that you can defer scholarships a semester. So you won't lose any money. So that was one of the things I was sort of nervous. I'm like, will I lose money? But like doing the research, like you won't lose your scholarships. You can push them off a semester. So that's really nice. So it's really flexible.
And I'm in the biosystems department because I'm interested in energy and sustainability. So I've found a lot of the places that I'm looking at now where I'm applying from clubs, and I even went to fairs as well. And I think now we're looking at places like Schneider Electric, places that I would have never heard about if I hadn't been introduced here. So.
Yeah, and the flexibility about co-ops, UK does not require them, as we know, which kind of adds to the flexibility. If some student maybe doesn't want to do those, they certainly don't have to. But UK does a great job of working with students who do want to be involved in co-ops.
Right, yeah, I agree. I was going to say, I have a good friend who is a mechanical engineering major, but she wants to go to med school. Yeah. So for her, co-op's not in her best interest, so she does a ton of undergraduate research, which is really prepared her well for her med school application. So I agree. It's nice. We kind of have the flexibility to choose what is best for your career path and what you want to do with that. So kind of along those lines, we all know getting experience in engineering really makes you so valuable to employers. And UK really does put a strong emphasis on that you get that hands-on experience in all different kinds of ways. So I guess for everybody, what are some other types of ways you've gotten some good hands-on kind of marketable experience while being here at UK?
I'd say part of it is sort of like in my honors classes. That was something that was actually pretty useful, like with writing papers. That gives you an idea, gives you experience in sort of like writing cover letters, and some of your engineering classes sort of tailor your skills for those like soft skills that you need in engineering.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to go?
You're good. Okay.
So kind of talking about some of the skills that I've acquired. Mechanicals, we take like a Creo class. It's a software package for design. So I've been utilizing my 205 knowledge extensively in my co-ops. And the hands-on experience, so I'm in capstone right now. Brittany's in there with me as well. It's kind of our like senior hurrah, sort of a, compile everything you've learned and build something cool sort of a thing. So we're very hands-on with that. And you don't have to wait till your 4th year to do it. Like David mentioned, EGR 103, you also do something very similar. So that's kind of where I've gained some experience here.
And I was going to say, similar to Creo, I have class that's AutoCAD, which is super useful. And something that I would love to point out is the Innovation Center, which you don't even have to have a class. If you want experience in 3D printing or laser cutting, you can go at any time, make an appointment, and you can practice, and there's people there to help you, and it's an awesome opportunity.
Hey, that's a great point. I almost forgot about the Innovation Center. There's so many fun toys for us as engineers that
and
we totally love to play with.
With the Engineering Center, you can sort of pursue personal projects that you have on the side. Like I love 3D design and stuff, so that's one of the things I like to do on the side. And I get to 3D print and like mess with stuff like that, which is really cool.
Yeah. I want to real quick remind everybody watching, especially students, if you all have any questions, again, as we're going throughout the broadcast tonight, please don't hesitate to drop them down in those chat boxes and comments below, so that way we can make sure that we get them answered for you guys. So as you think of them, definitely drop them, so that way we can make sure you don't leave the broadcast tonight with any last lingering thoughts. But with that, as you were saying, David, I was kind of thinking it's kind of a curveball I'm going to throw at you guys. I think it's fun. Well, how do you guys think, coming into engineering, that it's really helped you kind of combine like your passions and things that really make you excited into your coursework? Because I think that's one cool thing about engineering is it is so hands-on, and we do get to do so much and solve so many problems. So I guess, how have you guys found that engineering does that for you and is like exciting?
I can say, like, just with my electrical engineering courses, like taking like circuits and a digital logic course, like you solve the problems, and like when you actually see it in the lab setting, it's really cool to see how this knowledge that you learn from a textbook is being used in real life, and that sort of is like the basis for everything else that you'll use.
Yeah, similarly in biosystems, like I said, I'm interested in sustainability. So I knew that I was interested in this concept, but I really knew nothing about how to get there. And even in my first class, we've been introduced to, heat principles and so many things that go into what makes a building sustainable, and, insulation and all kinds of awesome things.
Yeah, I've really been able to model my technical electives around my interests. And especially what I'll be working on once I leave UK and start in industry. So like manufacturing, automotive manufacturing, things like that. I've taken, 3 tech electives that kind of pertain to that. So that's been really helpful.
Right. You really do have the opportunity to kind of craft your experience to like cater to that. Like for me, my passion was I knew I wanted to work with people and doing like the business management side. So I've loved getting that from SEAM classes and student organizations and things like that. Us engineering, I feel like we nerd out talking about all the fun things we get to do. So Matthew asked a question. Thank you, Matthew. He wants to know, you come in maybe thinking a certain major like civil engineering, but say you want to change your mind to something different during your freshman year. Is that okay? And what does that kind of look like? I know, Will, you're saying you were kind of in that boat.
Yeah, Matthew, I was definitely in that boat. Like I said, I came in, didn't know whether I wanted to do CS or mechanical, but the first year engineering program, we were exposed to every single major that UK offered. We had small focused lectures on each major, and then projects on each major as well. So I was able to really make that clear determination that mechanical was for me fairly easily in the first year, because we're all taking the same classes. You're going to be in the same classes, same core classes with all your friends that you come in with. You don't start really specializing until sometimes even as late as the second semester of your sophomore year. So you have plenty of time in your freshman year.
Right. Yeah. Because even your freshman year, even if you say a certain major, it's pre that major. So you're not even really too much into the thick of it. So you definitely have plenty of opportunity to change that. And a lot of us engineering majors share some of those first year and second year classes anyway. So it's totally possible, even if you change your mind again a third time, you can totally do that. And our advisors in the College of Engineering are super awesome for that. I know we were kind of talking about advising with the career services earlier, but your academic advisor is also a huge resource. And our advisors in the College of Engineering are just top of the line, the best out there. So if y'all want to kind of add to that, touch on your experience with your advisors.
I'd say my advisor is Jennifer Dorsch, and she's been amazing. She's just on top of everything, and she helps find opportunities for you. And just in general with all the other advisors, they really do their best to make sure you have the best experience possible and to help you find resources if you're struggling in classes.
I would say I had also Jennifer Dorge and now Dr. M, and both of those I had in class with me, which was super helpful. You get to know them super well. They care about your well-being. They'll ask about, your test grades. They'll give you different resources, and you can really go to them anytime if you're stressed out about your class or need to know if you might want to drop something. And I think I've only received good advice.
Yeah, the advisors are always, at least for me, just a phone call or email away. Super, super knowledgeable. They've been doing this for a long time, and they know the tips and tricks, so they can really help me, especially, and really anyone, know the ropes through engineering.
Right, yeah, and they really do their best to make sure, I feel like, that each of us get the experience that we want out of engineering. Like, I remember my first year, I came in very headstrong in what I wanted to do, and I knew I wanted to take the spring of my junior year off to co-op.
Wow.
You don't feel like you have to be that specific. I don't even know how I do that, but told my freshman advisor that. Also Jennifer Dorge, huge shout out. But I told her, I was like, hey, I really want to take this semester off. How can I make sure that it's possible? And she actually connected me with an advisor that's now my advisor in the mechanical engineering department, who is a little more familiar with all the prerequisites and things like that. And we made my 4-year plan my freshman year together for just an hour, sat down and figured it all out so that it could be possible for me. So they really do care about all of us and making sure that we get that experience that we want while we're here at UK. So with that, kind of steering away from engineering, I think we've talked a lot about it. We'll circle back, don't worry. But I wanted to ask David, I know both of us are from out of state. What was it like for you coming to Kentucky from a different state?
I'm from just north of Cincinnati, so it's about 2 hours away. So it wasn't a huge change sort of with geographics, but obviously not knowing a lot of people from your high school. I think for my graduating class of almost 700, I think only 6 people came to UK, and most of them weren't engineers. So I definitely had to go out there and find a new group, which was a little difficult at first, but it was really nice. And that was something I give credit to the Living Learning program for.
Yeah, I agree. I also, didn't know a single soul on this campus when I came here. Engineering Living Learning program was awesome for that. I remember, they're putting on events all the time for the students that live there, as are pretty much all the residence halls on campus. But if you go to those events, there are so many ways to meet people. I still remember my first night in the residence hall after moving in. We had our hall meeting with our RA, and there was a movie night going on that night down in the large classroom. My parents told me, we're going to leave, but you better go to that movie night. And after my hall meeting, I was so close to going to bed on our nice Tempur-Pedic mattresses that we have in the residence hall because I was tired, worn out. But I decided to go to that movie night, and I met my best friend that night. Shout out to you, Maddie Peppenhorst, at that movie night. And we've lived together ever since then and have been best friends since then. And she really helped make UK feel like my home. And I met more people through the Living Learning program, walking to class together and doing homework together. And again, just really helps makes it feel like home. And I think there's a lot of ways that you can do that at UK through student organizations, Living Learning program. If you put yourself out there, there's a lot of communities you can join to help make a big school feel smaller. So I know that's kind of out of state experience. What about Lily, Will, you all's experience coming to UK as a Kentuckian?
I'd say that it was definitely what I expected and more. Of course, living in Kentucky, you're here in UK, I was a huge Cats fan before, but now actually being able to experience it and go to the games as a student, I think even beyond the engineering program, there's a huge connection among our campus. I feel like everybody's really nice here, and I felt really at home as soon as I came.
Yeah, my hometown is just 15 minutes outside of Lexington, so quite a bit of my high school actually ended up at UK. But I really just met a ton of new people at the LLP. I have a few of my closest friends from high school still, but the majority of my friends here I met through the LLP and first year engineering, so it's been great.
Yeah, I agree. It's such a home when you come to UK. So many ways to get plugged in, and just everybody's so kind and always helpful. And then with that, I also want to ask, what is y'all's favorite thing about Lexington or about UK's campus being here?
My favorite thing is the proximity to Lexington. So it's 5 minute walk to downtown. We've got tons of food, tons of fun. Keeneland's just down the road. So being in Lexington is, it's a great part about being at UK.
Yeah, I would agree too. I would say it's not like some campuses that are so far in the city that it's huge. There's sides of campus that are a little more quiet. There are holes in the wall, so much stuff to explore, so many restaurants. It was so fun my first semester finding all the little things that were so close to campus.
Yeah, I'd say I just love, there's so much to do around the city. I love going to Keeneland. It's an absolute blast. And honestly, UK's just got such a beautiful campus. Like the library is so nice. I love Starbucks. So having a Starbucks in the library is quite nice. So, I mean, there's just so much to do around Lexington, which is amazing.
Right. Yeah. And I think one of my favorite things has been UK sports for sure.
Yeah.
Like as a big SEC school, I know I came here from the South, big football person, which sadly, I think we're still working on. Go back to 2018 season. That was the glory days. But I totally am obsessed with UK basketball now because the tradition behind UK sports is so much fun. Like I think that might be one of my favorite things about a student here is getting those $7 tickets to UK basketball games, which we will sadly never see again when you're not a student. But I would say I think that the tradition and the community that goes into those games is so fun. And it's just in downtown Lexington. So yeah.
Go Cats.
Go Cats forever. So true. Also, I love Lexington. I think the location of it is really cool too with like how close you are to so many other places. So I know my friends and I have done weekend trips to Nashville. Knoxville's really close. The Smoky Mountains, Cincinnati, all kinds of places like that. So many fun ways to spend your free time.
Yeah, and also
or off campus.
Red River Gorge and Natural Bridge are right about an hour away, which is a cool place to go hiking. It's a beautiful area to see. So there's something for everyone.
Right. I never expected that coming here, like the beauty that is Kentucky and like all the cool places you get to go and the horse country and all that. I know y'all probably experienced that.
Yeah, Daniel Boone National, if we're going to shout out different places to go, Daniel Boone National Forest is not that far either. It's only about an hour. There's waterfalls. Everything beautiful to see in Kentucky is right within a weekend drive for Lexington.
I hope all y'all watching are taking notes for your weekend trips one day when you're here at UK as a Wildcat. But now kind of pivoting back to engineering, why we're all here. I know, Lily, you mentioned it earlier, and you guys were kind of talking about it, the makerspace, and how we've got 2 of those here for us. Can you guys kind of touch a little bit more on how you've used those and what kind of cool equipment is in there and that type of thing?
I'd say the first time you go, it's a little bit intimidating. It's all these printers. I'd never worked with a 3D printer in my entire life. And we had to make a coin, actually. So you're required to go at first to make your coin that you use to get into any makerspace. And it's so much help there. There's people there constantly that will tell you everything you need to know. So you can go in completely clueless, preferably watch a video, but go in completely clueless and they will be able to help you. And they'll tell you how to print. They have other power tools. They have cutting. So you can make a project on your own or do something if you want to excel in one of your classes. I know people used it for 101 even when they didn't have to. And it's really just available for absolutely anything that you could think of. And most of the time the materials are even free. But even if you're paying, you're only paying like cents or dollars for the material that it costs. So it's a really inexpensive way to get awesome experience.
Yeah, and like with the makerspace, it's sort of incorporated into the first year curriculum. Like in EGR 103, you'll use the makerspace for your semester-long project, and it's just really cool. So you'll learn about the makerspace in your courses also.
Yeah, I'm kind of jealous of you guys. The makerspace is fairly new. I didn't have that when I was in 101, so you guys are lucky there.
Yeah, I know. I've even got some friends that work there. Like you can have a job there and help people learn, and there are people there to walk you through all of it. So yeah, I know I was in the same boat as you, Lily, intimidated. How do you use any of this? But now like I know a friend that was similar. Now she makes all her Christmas gifts for people using the laser cutter in there and making little ornaments. So many options that you can do in there. I also kind of want to go back to talking a little bit about classes and what it's like being in your classes, especially as you kind of go up through your major. So I know we talked a little bit about professors earlier, but I guess can you all just like share your experience being in the classroom, getting to know your professor, getting through those tough homeworks and exams, and just kind of the heart of that academic bit of the experience?
Yeah, the professors here just really, really, really care about student success. my junior year, which is typically the year where things get a little tougher, assignments get a little harder, and things like that. You kind of get into the meat and potatoes of your degree at that point. I was kind of struggling in one of my classes, so I went and met with my professor in his office hours, and he actually set up a weekly block of time just for me to come and sit down with him and go over anything I needed. So that was super helpful. I cannot recommend office hours enough. I certainly wish I would have utilized them earlier. And even just breaking up a time in your week to go visit those professors, even if it's just 15 minutes checking in, hey, how am I doing? I highly recommend office hours.
Yeah, and just another thing to add, the professors are super flexible. So if you can't even make their office hours, you can usually get an appointment with them outside of their normal office hours, so you can talk with them.
And I would say, good to mention something I was nervous about before this semester is what were office hours going to look like. Obviously, we're hugely online, but they're still doing complete office hours on Zoom. It's almost even easier. You can just hop on, talk to them about what you need to, and you're gone. So they are very available.
So yeah, that's always been my thing that I've loved about my professors is how accessible they are. I'll send an email at 10:30 at night because I was thinking about it and expecting my professor to reply in the morning, and 3 minutes later, I already have a response to the question that I have on my homework. They really do want to help you be successful and do well. And I know for me, being successful in the classroom too, a big part of it, those lecture halls are very scary and can be hard. And I know everybody always says it, but sitting in the front of the class and really trying to make that relationship with your professor pays off way more than I ever thought it would. Whether it's, sitting at the front, introducing yourself, getting to know your professor, all that type of stuff, using the tutoring resources, all that type of stuff. So one thing I also want to mention to everybody watching and just reiterate in case you didn't catch it in the beginning, we are hosting in-person engineering and campus tours from now until mid-December and then through the spring semester. So I think you should totally come and check it out. I, shameless plug also, am a tour guide here on campus. And as we all said, our campus is totally beautiful. So lots of ways to come check us out, whether you can come in person or online and learn a little bit more about campus and see it for yourself, because it really is, kind of different. And so I guess with that, just made me think of something I wanted to ask you all. How did you end up at UK? What made you decide UK was the right place for you?
For me, being an out-of-stater, UK really wasn't on my radar because out-of-state tuition is quite high. But UK was the first school I visited, and I fell in love with it. And then for me, UK has some amazing scholarship packages. So I would, if you're an out-of-state student, don't keep UK out of your sights because there's many scholarships available. And at the end of the day, for me, being an out-of-state student, it was cheaper for me to come here than stay in-state. So definitely explore those scholarship opportunities.
And I would say that my search was mostly about engineering programs. And what really drew me to UK as opposed to some of the others was how many options there are. We do have so many majors, and not just majors, we have minors and certificates more than any of the other schools that I was really looking at. So I felt like I could really zone in on what I wanted to learn, and add on to my degree with that.
Yeah, and I was kind of lucky given my hometown proximity to Lexington. I was able to both do campus tour and an engineering grand tour, and really just fell in love with the campus that way. Because even being 15 minutes away, you don't really get into the heart of campus. But yeah, definitely the tours.
Yeah, and just one thing I just remember, UK is always on the cutting edge with stuff. They're always remodeling and revamping their campus. They're constantly adding new facilities. For example, our chemistry physics building is being renovated. So UK will always strive to have the best facilities available.
A great new student center too. Awesome place.
Yeah. This brand new building that we're in right now literally just opened. So yeah, that's such a great point. There's always so many new things. And I think that for me was what really sold me on UK was kind of how that plays into they really care about us here. And all these new things are really student oriented, and it's new classroom buildings, it's new residence halls, it's a new student center, and that directly affects all of us. And so I feel like they really prioritize us as students. And I know I felt that, y'all, from the moment that I was on campus, I knew that I would be cared about here and, actually prioritized as a student, as a person, which I think you don't see a lot of places. So I feel
especially on larger campuses too.
That's so true. Yeah. We are a pretty large, SEC land grant institution too. And we really do have that really homey feeling. I feel like everybody cares about each other.
Yeah.
Like your faculty and advisors and things like that care about you, but like as students, we all care about each other too, and you really get that homey feeling. So with that, on that cheesy note, we are actually about out of time. So before we sign off, just want to thank everybody for logging on tonight and participating and asking us questions. I know that's one of our favorite things as ambassadors, is just getting to answer you all's questions as prospective students and families, because that was us once upon a time. So thanks for joining and asking those questions. For anyone who has more questions about things that were covered tonight or other unrelated topics, scholarship, admissions, etc., feel free to contact us at visit@engr.uky.edu, or you can send us a text at 859-267-1877. And all that information is in the description below as well. And for anyone who's interested in learning more about UK's College of Engineering, we also really encourage you to register for an information session, which are also being offered virtually with the College of Engineering by visiting our homepage, which is engr.uky.edu/visit. The link is also in the description below. And for updated content about how our faculty, alumni, and students imagine what's possible, connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or YouTube, or at engr.uky.edu. And there's also a link in the description to a quick survey about our broadcast tonight. So if you tuned in, we'd really appreciate you taking a minute to share your feedback about Engineering Live with us so that we can improve the experience for some future broadcasts. And then again, as one last reminder, December 1st, right around the corner, is the UK deadline for early action admissions and academic scholarships. So just make sure you get your application and supplemental materials to us by December 1st. And then, of course, when you do visit campus, like we plugged this beautiful space we were in tonight, be sure to come check it out. It's the UK Federal Credit Union Esports Lounge and Theater at the Cornerstone. And you can learn more about the Cornerstone and its amenities at the link in the description below. It's uky.edu/edc/place/cornerstone. So thank you all again for joining us for Engineering Live, and we really hope to see you all on campus soon. Go Cats, and have a great night.